Next on Fox Sports Saturday at the races, War Story returns for his 7-year-old campaign. Can the multi-millionaire add to his resume in the Charlestown Classic? Discreet Lover provided the upset of the year in 2018. Can he build off his Jockey Club Gold Cup shocker in his return? And in New York, graded stakes winner 40 Under looks to ace his 3-year-old debut as the one to beat in the Woodhaven. Fox Sports Saturday at the races is brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today.
Welcome to the final show in our Fox Sports Saturday at the Races series. Today we bring you the premier event from Hollywood Casino at Charlestown, with a race that has quickly evolved into a premier event on the national stage with the Grade 2 $1 million Charlestown Classic. Greg Wolf alongside Hall of Fame jockey Gary Stevens, 4-time Major League All-Star Paul LaDuca. We have multiple previous champions of this race returning, Gary, including the top 2 finishers in last year's running, and something awesome in War Story once again going head-to-head.
Yeah, and something awesome in War Story. They put on a heck of a show last year. Something awesome. He was 9-1 last year. He's getting a little long in the tooth, and his 2 races here in 1999 aren't what they were cracked up to be leading into this race last year, Paul.
Yeah, you make a great point. I mean, both of these horses ran so well in this race. Something awesome in War Story. And you're right, it was a battle all the way down the wire. The worry that you have going into this year, last year going into the race, both of these horses were coming out of wins. Going into this year's edition, both of these horses are coming off 2 very poor efforts by both of them. Can they get back to that form?
The other thing, they're both coming off of long layoffs right now, too. So they've been prepared for this race with the $1 million in sight online.
Yeah, Jorge Navarro thinks that break for War Story has done this horse a ton of good. So we'll see if it helps him here in his return to finding that form. Those 2 youngins compared to another previous champion, Imperative. He's won this race twice before. He is now a 9-year-old. Can he make it a three-peat? We will find out as you take a look at the field there for the Charlestown Classic. $1 million purse. War Story with Kendrick Carmouche. He won the first ever running of this race with a local horse. 7-2 on the morning line, and another local hope. Maybe he has a shot to win it this year. Running to Love Ya. He has reeled off 8 consecutive victories. We'll see if he can stand up to these other horses as he is 11 for 14. Ultimate horse for course here. Get signed up, get started, play along with all the races that we bring you with Naira Bets. Earn a $200 new member bonus by entering the promo code LIVE at sign up. Bet $200 the first 14 days after registration. You'll get $200 in your account. Go to NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app. Weather conditions from the tracks we'll be covering for you this afternoon. Charlestown, about 60 miles west and north of our nation's capital. Mostly sunny. 70 degrees. Track is listed as fast for today's action. Meanwhile, in Hot Springs, Arkansas, at Oaklawn Park, sunny, beautiful, 72 degrees for our action there this afternoon. And in South Ozone Park, the SOP. We'll check in with Andy Serling, Maggie Wolfendale in just a little bit. 60 degrees, our feature race. That is the Woodhaven. That'll be on the turf. 40 Under, looking at another graded stakes win to his resume. We'll get to that one in just a little bit. That one does stay on the yielding turf. The rest are off the turf at Aqueduct this afternoon in a sloppy main track. Oaklawn fast. We'll have the 5th and 7th, and of course Charlestown races 9 through 11. The Grade 2 Charlestown Classic $1 million purse. Our feature event out there. Track schedule brought to you by WinStar Farm. The farm that pays you back, as we want to remind everyone as well. Get signed up, play along with the Showdown promo. Compete against fellow fans on all these races without risking any of your own money. Go to naira.com/showdown. Put in your free picks. You're competing for real prizes like a 2019 VIP Belmont Stakes ticket package. Again, go to naira.com/showdown to enter at Aqueduct. So this Woodhaven remains on the turf. It's at 1.16 miles. Turf course listed as yielding, and 40 Under is the one to beat as he makes his 3-year-old debut for Jeremiah Engelhardt.
Yeah, and a horse that won 2 times, won the Pilgrim, and did not disgrace himself at all in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile over a yielding surface for Jeremiah Engelhardt.
Clint Maroon, son of Oasis Dream, comes in off back-to-back wins.
Yeah, you know what? Back-to-back wins and probably could have won the other one on the turf. So I think a major contender in here.
Family Biz, Dylan Davis rides.
Yeah, it can be the first time on the turf and a yielding turf course. So you never know what's going to happen here.
Todd Pletcher sends out Empire of War. He'll make his 3-year-old debut, and here's the 8 5-star General with Joe Bravo.
Yeah, Empire of War and 5-star General have both shown speed. Now, Empire of War has shown speed gate to wire at Belmont. 5-star General has shown speed on dirt and synthetic, but has never been able to get on the turf course.
Well, right now, it is Clint Maroon who is favored on the board at 8 to 5. We check in now in New York with New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling.
Thanks a lot, Greg. The odds will change a lot by post time. 40 under will be a heavy favorite post time. I mean, he probably should be. He didn't really like that yielding course at Churchill last time, but that was an extremely soft course that had taken a ton of rain. We did have some rain overnight. It's hard to know how much give there is in the ground. This course has been in great shape. His Pilgrim Moon was a good one. He had a very good trip in it, but it was a very solid effort. And keep in mind, when he won this Pilgrim, the horse who finishes second to him in here, Some Like It Hot Brown, well, he finished a very close third at Churchill Downs in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. So I think it's reasonable to say that he didn't really handle a much softer course at Churchill. He comes back with some rain. I think he's the horse to beat. Now, I do have to say, in all fairness, I had actually picked the 7 English B on top. It was scratched. So I kind of scratched into this horse. But I like him more than the 2 Todd Pletcher runners. And I really think that they're betting the wrong Todd Pletcher horse here. I think that Empire of War is much more likely to win than Clint Maroon. Empire of War is 2 for 2 on the turf. Now, he's had good trips, to be fair. He rode a very strong inside on the turf when he won his turf debut, 3 back. But he got a nice trip when he won at Aqueduct, and I just think he ran well enough as a 2-year-old that with any routine improvement, he's the one who's most likely to beat 40 under in this race. I think he's a talented runner and just a major player in this race. I think that the fans right now, and it's early and the odds are going to change, are a little bit mesmerized by the ones for Clint Maroon, or the number 4. I know he's won a couple races relatively easily down at Gulfstream. Now, 2 back, he beat a relatively highly regarded first-time starter from Chad Brown, but he had the benefit of not only did he have experience, but he also was right on top of a very dawdling pace where Value Engineering was second, was closing. Last time out, it wasn't a particularly strong field, and he got an absolutely perfect trip. I guess he could win here, but in my opinion, he is dramatically overbet, but he will drift up in odds while the 340 under comes down as we head out to Maggie Wolfendale.
And head out to the windy track here at Aqueduct. At least it's drying out conditions, though. This is the closing day here at the Big A. It's hard to know how much rain these courses got, but there was a lot of lying water around, still lying water out here on the main tracks. You would have to think it is yielding every bit of it, as we'll check in with those 2 horses who are coming back off layoffs, including your post-time favorite in 40 under. As, guys, he's actually done very well. He's filled out that frame. He was a bit of a gangly type of 2-year-old, and he's really kind of rounded out behind the saddle. He comes in, he's so much more mentally mature, which is something I always look for and always appreciate with these horses coming back. He does appear to be fit here for Jeremiah Englehart, and I like what I see. But same thing goes for Empire of War, who I think is definitely the Pletcher horse that you want. I'm in total agreement with Andy on that front, as he looks better than what he did the last time I laid eyes on him back in November with a rained off Central Park. And his coat looks fantastic as he's been preparing for this at Palm Beach Downs, Todd Pletcher's base for the winter. And I just like him, especially going this 1.16 distance. He's handled this course before. He's handled Given the ground. I think Empire War gets the job done in this Woodhaven. 5-star General is an interesting horse. Not much turf pedigree to speak of. Maybe he handles it physically. But what I like most about him is that he was a horse that I saw down at Tampa who just did not look fit and prepared for that Sam Davis. Now, whether he liked the synthetic, I don't know. It wouldn't appear that he really appreciated it that much. So that doesn't translate well for this surface change. But he is so much more fit, third off the layoff, and nice and relaxed here, guys. He's obviously going to have to move up on the turf. We'll see if he does in the Woodhaven. Greg?
Maggie, thank you. And he has speed. We'll see how close he is or if he's on the pace to lead them out of the gate in here. Gary, you were in that Breeders' Cup last year that 40 under was in as well. Tell us about the course that day.
That was the softest turf course that I've ridden on anywhere in the world at any time. They had it listed as good originally. They changed that to yielding after the charts came out, but I call it a bog. That's what they raced in. So both 40 under and Empire Way have won on yielding ground in New York, and that's what we see here.
You're watching Fox Sports Saturday at the races as we kick off live action. 40 under, making his 3-year-old debut. He breaks from post 3. Larry Colmus with the call of the Woodhaven.
Broke well, but it's been taken off the pace as Clint Maroon goes out to lead him early. Empire of War is away running in second. 40 under is third, and then comes 5-Star General, who tucks in behind horses, and Family Biz will be last of them all, racing for that first turn. Clint Maroon in front, the leader by 3/4 of a length. Empire of War is second as Clint Maroon now gets away to almost a 2-length lead on that turn. And on the inside, 40 under sits third. Then it's 5-Star General and Family Biz at the back as they go through a 25.69 opening quarter mile over this yielding going. So onto the backstretch they go with Rod Ortiz Jr. leading the way here with Clint Maroon. They're on top by 2 lengths. And then it's Empire of War sitting in second. 40 under is third on the inside of 5-Star General, who's well held in fourth at this stage, 4 lengths from the front and clear of trailer Family Biz. 51.17 was the half mile as they race for the far turn. Clint Maroon on top, in the clear by 1.5 lengths. Empire of War is second on the outside. 40 under rides the rail in third. 5-Star General continues to go along comfortably in fourth, 3 lengths off the lead in Family Biz. Around the far turn, it is still Clint Maroon from Empire of War. 5-Star General comes up to them with a 3-wide run. 40 under is now under pressure from fourth, 3/4, 115.98. They're into the stretch, and Clint Maroon trying to hold on here as 5-Star General is taken second on the outside, but Clint Maroon has now kicked away. 5-Star General down the middle, 40 under is down toward the inside and has now moved up into second. Empire of War is taken third, and 5-Star General is back to fourth as Clint Maroon takes the Woodhaven. Pulling away under the wire by 4.5 lengths over 40 under. Then it was Empire of War and 5-Star General.
Clint Maroon make it 3 in a row on turf for this son of Oasis. Dream for the Todd Pletcher barn. Rad Ortiz Jr. aboard.
Very impressive. Got away with some slow fractions on that yielding turf course. They labeled it yielding, but I noted when they were going down the backstretch and we saw that head-on, you didn't see a lot of kickback coming back like you do on a real yielding turf course. This horse has never stepped foot on one. Comes from Gulfstream Park off of a couple of impressive wins. I like what I see here the last 1/8 of a mile.
Yeah, this was well done because if you look, 25 to 51 to 115, never really stretched anywhere in those quarters under 23, 24. Just, nice and easy all the way around. And when Irad sat him down, he responded. This was a nice little stretch out here the way he cornered. He looked like he was looking at the crowd, a little green there, Gare, but when he straightened him out, he took off.
Yeah, I like the way that this colt dropped and went to run him when he asked him. You normally don't see that on a slower yielding kind of turf course. And he reached nice and finished up that last 1/8 very impressively.
Jose Ortiz had ridden this horse to victory each of the last 2 starts. They keep it in the family. His town brother, Irad Ortiz, gets the job done. The win streak remains intact. 3 in a row now for Clint Maroon. Wins at 5-2 in the Woodhaven at Aqueduct. We'll be back with prices right after this. The top 2 horses on the Derby points list both aced their final qualifying tests. We'll have the latest on Arkansas Derby winner Omaha Beach and Wood winner Tacitus when we come back with a Derby preview.
This is a colt by Run Happy out of Addison Run. We bred here at Montfort Hall. He's a big, strong, good bone, big old hip on him. Moves really well. Has that kind of big cat-like walk when he just relaxes and gets rolling up and down the lane.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farms.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. Sign up now for a $200 new member bonus with promo code LIVE at NairaBets.com.
Fox Sports Saturday at the races is brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Great to have you with us on this Saturday afternoon of action. The Woodhaven from Aqueduct in the books. We're going to shift gears, head over to Hot Springs, Arkansas at Oaklawn Park. Race 5 is coming up. 6 furlong sprint. Allowance optional claiming race in all the money right now. On the 6th, share the upside for the Steve Asmussen barn. 2 for 3 at Oaklawn, coming off a second in the Hot Springs, beat by Whitmore. Absolutely the one to beat as we check in with Nancy Holthus.
Well, Greg hit the nail on the head. Exits a second to Whitmore when making the stakes debut. Super consistent in the money. 7 of 8 career starts. It looks like it's his race to beat, and he's going to be extremely impressive. The winning connections, we'll see Asmussen and Santana, a very, very consistent trainer-jockey duo. It comes down to him, I believe, and Gordy, Florida. Greg?
All right, Nancy, thank you. So share the upside. I mean, that's a monster. He went against a Whitmore last time out, but Wilbo next door, the 5, 7 to 1. He has a second to Whitmore as well in Graded Stakes Company at Oaklawn.
If he can get back to some of that old form that he had in 2018, and he sort of perked up in his last start here, but they have to all run and put their running shoes on to beat Share the Upside.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen in a horse race, but if he gets away clean that first jump, I think this race is, just going to be a stride in the park for stroll in the park for Share the Upside. Wilbo's got some back class, but he's 7 years old, facing a 4-year-old that has all the potential in the world to keep improving.
Share the Upside, the 6, heavy favorite. Vic Stauffer with the call. Race 5 from Oaklawn.
They're at the post. They're off. Gordy, Florida wins the break and goes for the front from Share the Upside in second. DeRapper breaks third. Then comes Wilbo and One Fine Dream, and the early trailer is Comic Bird. Not going very fast up the backstretch with Gordy, Florida, a measured neck in front of Share the Upside in second. These two gallop along 2 lengths in front of DeRapper, a half length to the veteran Wilbo. He's fourth with 3 lengths to make up. Then it's a big gap of 8 lengths back to One Fine Dream and 3 more to Comic Bird. Around the far turn, Gordy, Florida, and Share the Upside are still 1-2. Gordy, Florida still leads by a half length. Share the Upside is second, a tight length now to Wilbo and DeRapper together, third and fourth. It is 3.5, maybe more than that, back to One Fine Dream, top of the stretch. Here's Share the Upside outside of Gordy, Florida. Wilbo about to join the battle as well. Gordy, Florida, and Share the Upside. Wilbo's only a length back in third. They come to the final furlong. Share the Upside and Gordy, Florida. Wilbo, 3 of them to the wire. Share the Upside just in front. Gordy, Florida. Wilbo to the outside. Share the Upside. Gordy, Florida. Wilbo. Share the Upside in front. Share the Upside won. It is very close for second between Gordy, Florida, and Wilbo. DeRapper finished fourth.
Share the Upside picks up the 4th win of his career. As Vic Stauffer said, close for second. Looked like Wilbo might have got it.
Yeah, it did look like Wilbo got up for second. No real surprises there. And Share the Upside with Ricardo just stalking the pace. Got the perfect trip. Looked like a couple of them were loaded there coming into the stretch. DeRapper down on the inside. Looked like he was looking for room, but the room appeared, and the hole was going faster than he was. And,
yeah, right.
The same pretty much for Wilbo. Put in a big run. But nobody's going to touch Share the Upside today.
Poor Gordy, Florida. I mean, he's going to get out bobbed here for third, but he's lost to Hartwood. He lost to Matoli, who might be the best sprinter right now, and then Share the Upside. Keeps running his heart out, and he's collecting checks, but take nothing away from Share the Upside. This son of McLean's music has got a future. Like Gary said, he's only a 4-year-old.
Back at Aqueduct in the Woodhaven, it's Clint Maroon. Spring in the minor upset here over 40 under, and it's 3 wins in a row for this Todd Pletcher trainee.
Yeah, and interesting, he was bred in Great Britain and moves his form over here. That's his 5th lifetime race, 3rd in a row, and I think we're going to see a lot more from Clint Maroon.
That race remained on the turf. Race 7 is coming off the turf now. It is 1 mile, moved to the main track, and Lutsky, main track only entrant with the surface switch, now a very heavy 1-5 favorite. We promised you a look ahead to the Kentucky Derby. All the preps in the books. Let's take a look at the leader list as it stands right now, and the top 2 names on that list. They're going to be tough. Tacitus for Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott, and Omaha Beach for another Hall of Famer, and Richard Mandela. They both aced their last test and look exceptional heading into that first Saturday in May.
Yeah, we had a lot of action going on this morning in different places. Some final key works. There's going to be a little bit of keeping up over the next week of just maintenance works, but a lot of serious works coming in this morning, and there's going to be more tomorrow.
Well, of course, Omaha Beach heading in as good as anyone could hope for. Mike Smith, he had such a difficult decision to make between this horse or Roadster. He chose Omaha Beach because he thinks he's in the improving horse, and he's beat a couple of Baffert runners, including Improbable.
Yeah, and I also think one of the reasons he chose is because of his tractability. He's a horse that leaves there fast. He experimented with him the other day. He will sit off of horses, but this Derby doesn't look like it's going to be loaded with speed, and I think that had a lot to do with his decision.
Well, Baffert had a couple of workouts here in Southern California. We'll get to those in a moment. Improbable, though, he's stationed already in Louisville at Churchill Downs, and there he is earlier this morning.
Looks like he traveled over well. I just read the Churchill Downs notes, and Jimmy Barnes quoted as saying they were just giving him a little stroll around the racetrack with the racetrack the way it was. You see it's very, very sloppy. They got hit with a deluge of rain today. There was a couple of works that were canceled until tomorrow. Tacitus is expected to work as well as by my standards.
You told me earlier, Gary, that what's interesting to you more than anything is Bob is training all 3 of these horses differently.
Yeah, we're going to see some works here come up at Santa Anita this morning. We'll see those a little bit later in the show, but all 3 of these horses, he's got a plan in mind. That's why he's won 5 Kentucky Derbies.
Well, everyone thought Hidden Scroll was the second coming for Bill Mott. Instead, it turns out Tacitus is his Derby horse. He has now reeled off 3 consecutive victories, including a win in the Wood Memorial.
Yeah, you're right? I mean, everybody goes back to that work where Hidden Scroll beat Tacitus by about 10 lengths and thought Hidden Scroll was the real deal. Well, it just shows you when the game shows up and it's game time, Tacitus is the one that's got the heart. And I'll tell you what, the Danny Gargan runner Tax, who runs second in here, already had a 1.1 mile win under his belt, and Tacitus showed that he's still a little bit of green, but I thought it was a decent win, Gary.
Yeah, and don't forget about that second place horse there in Tax. They both had some trouble going into the first turn, and they're battle tested. We know that the Derby's going to be a rough one.
Talk about unbelievably well stacked heading into a Kentucky Derby. Your 2-year-old champ running second to your horse that you thought might have been better anyway as a 2-year-old. Roadster, as Bob Baffert runs 1-2 in the Santa Anita Derby.
Yeah, this race, I think that Game Winner may have gotten more out of this Derby prep than any Derby prep, any horse in any Derby prep going into the Kentucky Derby. He's a big, heavy horse. I think he's going to improve off of this race a ton. Here's Roadster working out of the starting gate this morning, and that's one thing we were talking about. He's training all these horses differently. Bob Baffert telling me yesterday morning he's a little bit worried about the lack of speed in the Kentucky Derby. He's afraid Omaha Beach might get loose on an easy lead and go unchallenged. And I think that's why you're seeing this horse work out of the starting gate this morning, is to put him on his toes a little bit, make sure that he breaks sharp. You saw him break sharp there and finish up strong in this work.
And that's Roadster there on the outside. You see him pulling away, but Paul used this, Bob Baffert, as really a race because he felt he needed another really grueling, at least workout to get him in top shape for Derby Day. He treated this as the equivalent of a race.
Well, Bob will do that every once in a while, try to get a race and stamina fitness. Listen, there's been no secret to Bob Baffert's success. He works them fast in the morning, so they'll run fast in the afternoon. So now what he did with Roadster was a little bit different. What he did with Game Winner. Now, Gary, when you look at Game Winner, you look at the gallop out here, it's a little bit more of a traditional work here where he's just sort of cruising on his own.
Yeah, but this is poetry in motion. I love the way this horse is reaching here. He's tucking up nice right now. He's just now getting fit off of that tough Santa Anita Derby where he got gutted a little bit. And I think he's fit now. I think he's improving, and I love the way this horse crosses the finish line. Martin Garcia up aboard, and he's been up aboard the past 2 Triple Crown winners for Bob Baffert. So he goes to his bullpen here for the workouts, and just look at him traveling around this far turn here, galloping out after this work.
Now, this was about an hour after Roadster, and after this work concluded, 5 furlongs, a minute and 4/5. You see him gallop out there. Bob Baffert, he turned to his wife Jill and he said, "I'm having a good day, honey." He did a little jig afterwards too.
Here's the thing about Bob. A lot of trainers, a lot of jockeys do all their horses. As you can see, America's Best Racing, great follow on Twitter. With just 2 weeks left in Kentucky Derby, which horse you think has the best shot of bringing home the roses? Bob is so darn good at making that audible and knowing what to do. And like Gary said, he's won all these races because he's so brilliant.
Unbelievably well stocked, but there is that horse out there who's beat 2 of his horses already in Omaha Beach, and that's the horse that Mike Smith decided to ride with that difficult decision. What do you think Mike was thinking when he saw these workouts?
Well, I don't know if I'm Mike Smith, I'm probably second-guessing myself a little bit right now. And let's not forget, those were Derby preps. They weren't the Kentucky Derby. Those were just battles going into the war. So Bob Baffert knowing how to get there, and I was really impressed with Game Winner's workout this morning.
Saw quickly their prices from Share the Upside. Gets the victory there for Steve Asmussen in race 5. We're going to take a break. Still to come, the Russell Road from Charlestown, where 7-year-old Donji looks to build off an impressive runner-up finish last out.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
For a commercial farm like us in Frankfurt Park, you have to get value for money. Uvetzi won a grade 3 in California.
Big performance by Uvetzi.
And then we bred Take Charge Paula.
Take Charge Paula with the win.
When we can get some of these Winstar dollars, as far as we're concerned, it's the same as real money because we're just putting it back in again there for the coming year. Over the next couple of years, I think it's going to become even more important.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one of a kind, high speed, high stakes action. And Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. Sign up now for a $200 new member bonus with promo code LIVE at NairaBets.com.
Warfront has sired 8 champions and 10 millionaires. Recent Grade 1 winners include Homesman, Fog of War, Lancaster Bomber, and European champion U.S. Navy flag, plus 2019 Kentucky Derby hopeful War of Will. He's also sire of the highest priced yearling sold in North America in 2018, and international super sire on all surfaces and all fronts. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome to Fox Sports Saturday at the races. Great to have you with us. Hollywood Casino at Charlestown brings us our feature race, Grade 2, $1 million Charlestown Classic. Our show brought to you in part by America's Best Racing, the go-to site covering the sport and lifestyle. Visit americasbestracing.net today. Greg Wolf alongside Hall of Fame jockey Gary Stevens, 4-time Major League All-Star Paul LaDuca, as we get set for one of the big races now that has quickly evolved into a major race in the handicap division out at Charlestown. And some familiar names we're going to be seeing returning this year.
Yeah, and you know what? This race, when it went to $1 million, it got a lot of attention. And a lot of people suspected it wasn't going to keep that $1 million purse. Well, it has. It's the 11th running this year. So looking forward to the days. We've got 3 horses in the race that have won this race previously or been contenders in the race. One of them's won it twice. So loaded race today and open to everybody.
It's sort of like the heavyweight fight, right? You got like a bunch of oldsters. You got the Larry Holmes and the George Foremans going at it with Imperative and War Story, and you got some youngsters coming up. But yeah, listen, with everything going on with Dubai and the Pegasus and everything else, a lot of people thought that the Charlestown Classic would dissolve. They've done a good job of keeping it there, and they got another full field again, and we got some Hall of Fame jockeys joining the party as well.
Yeah, and don't forget, first 2 runnings of this race, it was a local horse who took the money, and maybe a local horse can do it again in here. Running to Love You. Reeled off 8 in a row. We'll see if he can get it done against some of these bigger name runners coming up. That is our feature race. Today's races, they're brought to you by WinStar Farm, the farm that pays you back. Aqueduct races 7 through 9 ahead. 7th race taken off the turf. We also have the New York Stallion Stakes Series ahead. Racing from Oaklawn and, of course, Hollywood Casino at Charlestown coming up with our big one later this afternoon in the handicap division. Get signed up, get started, play along with Naira Bets. Earn a $200 sign-up bonus when you get started and bet $200. Go to NairaBets.com, enter the promo code LIVE, or go to the Naira Bets app as well. Not just the Charlestown Classic, more stakes action. Out in West Virginia, the Russell Road is coming up. This is 7 furlongs, purse of $75,000. 3-year-olds and up, and right now it is line judge, the 5 trainer, Tom Amos. This horse has been a win machine for him.
Wow, 11 for 22 lifetime. Never over the Charlestown Strip, but here's the deal. Charlestown has tight turns, a little bit like Delta Downs, where Tom is shipping this horse in. They almost got the same configuration, so I would think Tom's thinking, if he can win at Delta Downs, he probably can win at Charlestown.
Yeah, a lot of people not realizing these horses that, they see 7 furlongs. They don't realize that it's 2 turns.
It's
and
2
a lot
turns,
of these
yeah.
horses in this race have never run 2 turns before. So, yeah, handicapping the race, keep that in mind. It's a bull ring. It is 2 turns for 7/8 of a mile.
The long shot for me would be the one. I'm surprised Clubman is 9-1. Good form, won 2 out of his last 3. Draws a cozy spot, stretches to 7 furlongs. Like Gary said, this is 2 turns, and he's probably a better 1-turn, maybe a 2-turn horse. And I think he's in good enough form, at least at that price at 8-1.
What about Donji, the 3-horse, with Javier Castellano aboard for George Navarro? This horse, he's been running in route races, and he's got some tactical speed. So take that into mind. He doesn't show any races shorter than a mile in his last 13 races or so here, but 7 furlongs. They call it a sprint, but on these types of tracks, it plays more like a route race than it does a pure sprint.
And what about from post 7, Wildwood Dancer? He's on the board here at 3-1. That is a Jorge Navarro runner as well. Does he lead the way in here and set the pace?
I would say probably so. He's coming off of a pair of 6 furlong races. He's got speed, 21 and change speed, setting just off of the lead when they go 21 and 4. So yeah, I'd look for him to jump away from there and perhaps be on the lead.
A lot of interesting storylines in this race here. Cool Arrow for Joe Sharp. That is the 2. He's at 4-1 on the board. Kendrick Carmouche will be aboard Cool Arrow. We know how aggressive Kendrick can be, and this horse coming off a win last start at a mile at Oaklawn.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to be aggressive on these kind of racetracks because you don't really know, are these kind of what we call bull rings, is because you got to make your move sometimes a little bit earlier than you want to on the backside. So we'll see what Kendrick does. He's had some very good success when he shipped over there to Charlestown.
I want to remind everyone we have another all-stakes lineup in our cross-country Pick 5 sequence this weekend, and it includes opening day at Woodbine. Starts in the 8th at Woodbine with the Group 3 Whimsical. Includes the 7th at Oaklawn, race 9 at Keeneland, the Grade 2 Elkhorn, Charlestown Classic, and then race 9 at Aqueduct. Go to NairaBets.com/cross-country for details and to get down in the sequence. It kicks off at 4:51 Eastern Time. First post for that cross-country Pick 5. Gary, I wanted to get your thoughts, and certainly we'll talk more about it too as we get to the Charlestown Classic, because that will be a 3-turn mile and an 1/8, and the stretch there is only 660 feet. So it's a very short stretch. But how do you ride differently in this kind of bull ring circumference?
Well, I had a lot of success early on in my career riding on bull rings, and I rode the bull rings actually taught me how to ride on the turf course, believe it or not. Where I grew up, there were no turf courses or anything, but there were small tracks like this with sharp turns, short straightaways. And You wanted to get a good break, get as good a position as you could going into that first turn. But I had a theory that you either wanted to be on the lead or you wanted to be last, saving ground around those turns, because some of the horses don't corner as well as they do on mile racetracks, and some of those horses will drift out around the turn. You can go into a turn 5 or 6 lengths off of the lead, and 3 or 4 horses spread that turn out, and you can come out of that turn 2 lengths in front. So I wrote it pretty much the same way as I do the turf courses, of just save ground, make sure you save ground, and if you get opportunity to get through on the fence, take that opportunity.
And it's been said before, like if you look at this race here at Charlestown, you have the 4 Concord Fast, who has won 2 races in a row on the turf. Sometimes the turf course horses will take to these kind of configurations just because, like you said.
And at Santa Anita, a lot of the turf horses, in saying that, they train on the training track at Santa Anita, which has sharper turns even than what you're seeing here at Charlestown. So a lot of horses can adapt to these sharper turns that are turf horses.
Yeah. Loading up for the Russell Road, 7 furlongs, 3-year-olds and up. And for our colleague Tom Amos, breaking for post 5, Line Judge, the current favorite, 11 for 22 lifetime, making his first start at Charlestown. Let's send it out to Paul Espinosa for the call. You're watching Fox Sports Saturday at the Races. Live action from Charlestown.
Colors. There goes Balivor, and the last one in will be Wildwood Dancer. Wildwood Dancer goes in. There in the gate. And they're off in the Russell Road. Good start on the outside for Wildwood Dancer. Cool Arrow is also ridden for speed, and Line Judge in between those two. The West Virginia bred Concord Fast away in 4th. Then comes Clubman, just inside of Donji, who's off the pace today. And the early trailer is the late running Balivor. So they race into the clubhouse turn, being led by a past Robert Hilton Memorial winner. Cool Arrow is just in front of Wildwood Dancer. They ensure a swift pace and open up by 3 on Concord Fast and Line Judge, who run along in 3rd and 4th. The opening quarter was quick, 23 seconds flat, and it's a gap of 5 lengths back to Clubman, racing just in front of Donji, and Balivor still at the back, has to be a dozen lengths away from Cool Arrow, who's 3 parts of a length in front of Wildwood Dancer, trying to keep up now but losing ground. Concord Fast underway inside of Line Judge, the half in 46 seconds flat. There goes Clubman, he's up into 5th. Then comes Donji, and Balivor yet to be unleashed from the back. Cool Arrow shows the way into the far turn. Wildwood Dancer still right there with him within striking range. Concord Fast, and now Clubman is threading his way through horses. Clubman coming with a 3-wide blitz. He's 2 lengths away with a furlong to go in the Russell Road. Cool Arrow is desperate. Here comes Clubman up alongside of him. Clubman down the center of the racetrack under the X-Man Xavier Perez, and they take the lead. It's Clubman to take the Russell Road by a length over Cool Arrow. Then came Concord Fast and Donji. The final time, 1:24.2.
Clubman with the victory from the inside post here. 8th win of his career. And what a 2019 he's having now, 3 for 4.
Yeah, and they were setting an extremely fast pace early on, head-and-head duel. And when they're head-and-head like that, it takes even more toll on them when they're going as fast as they were. And Clubman was sitting back there in the bushes and kind of flying late here on a tiring Cool Arrow.
Yeah, Cool Arrow actually ran his heart out. He won the battle, but he didn't win the wars. Clubman's going to circle. Xavier Perez, he's got a lot of experience over that racetrack, and he made the move at the right time. He got a good price on that horse, $20 winner.
We head back to New York, race 7 at Aqueduct. Again, off the turf, now on the main track. And with that Minsky moment, 4 to 5 on the board. But Lutsky, a main track only, getting plenty of attention, as well as we check in with Andy Serling.
With the races coming off the turf, this race became a little less competitive, and it's really somewhat of a 2-horse affair, with 2 taking the bulk of the play. While Minsky Moment is going to go off favor in his favor now, I think the one Lutsky is very dangerous, and I actually prefer him. He's the controlling speed in this race. He was very impressive breaking his maiden first time out. Now, while off for a long time, came back in a tough race. It was a prep race for Mucho, who did not run back well out of his next race. But I think Lutsky is going to wire this field. I think he's the controlling speed here. And as we switch the 9 very quickly, and we'll head down to Maggie, the 9 Minsky Moment, he's a cool name, But look at the kind of odds he's been in all of his races. 6-5, 1-2, 1-2, 4-5, 2-1, and 2-1. One win in 7 starts with 5 seconds. Maggie seems to be a horse that likes to finish second.
Yes, Andy, but one of those wins did come on a wet surface, and he's going to get that here once again. Plus, his fastest race as of yet with a 91 Beyer speed figure, though finishing second, was over a sloppy sealed track, much like what we're having here at the Big A. He warmed up beautifully over it. The problem is we haven't seen him in nearly a year and a half, as he's a beautiful horse. I mean, if every horse looked like him, I wouldn't have much to talk about, and therefore I wouldn't have a job. So thankfully, they don't all look like him. But he came in here to the paddock, and it got a little hot, and it's not warm whatsoever here today. So that concerns me with the horse coming off the bench. Now, number 1 is Lutsky. He'll try to stretch his speed. He's a yes, it's true out of a forestry mare. That's not screaming long, but it is only a 1-turn mile. I spoke to his trainer, Dermot Magner, and he said that he trains like a horse that can easily get this, but he did miss some time with him, guys, because he got sick when he shipped back up from Florida to New York. Greg?
Maggie, thank you very much. Just about loaded up here for race 7. As you see that track condition there in South Ozone Park. Larry Colmus with the call, 7th from Aqueduct. Here we go.
They're off. And it's Minsky Moment on the outside, and Lutsky from the rail out for the lead together. These two pulling away 2.5 lengths from Scrutinized. Dublin Green now splitting horses takes third. The trailer out of the chute is Beach Access. So onto the main track they go with Lutsky in front of Minsky Moment by 3/4 of a length, and Dublin Green 2 lengths off of them running in third. As they go past this opening quarter mile in 24.13 seconds up the backstretch. 1.5 lengths to Beach Access, and Scrutinize is only 4 lengths behind front-running Lutsky, who takes them up the backstretch just clear of Minsky Moment. Beach Access now splits horses, takes third. Dublin Green 4th on the inside, and Scrutinize last of this quintet with a half-mile to run. Lutsky in front. Beach Access now rush through in between horses, and Beach Access is pouring on the pressure now, and Minsky Moment's right up there too, and the 3 of them line up after a 48.19 half. They are inseparable on the far turn, and now Minsky Moment puts a neck in front. Beach Access between. Lutsky is down on the inside. The other 2 are well behind. Minsky Moment with a 3-wide rally to the front as they come to the top of the stretch. Now gets clear. Opens up by 2 to Beach Access and Lutsky, and it's a long way back to the others. They're coming into the final 3/16 here, and Arad Ortiz Jr. looking for his 4th win today, and he's got a 5-length lead with Minsky Moment. Beach Access, 2nd on the outside of Lutsky. As they come down to the line, it's a romp, an absolute romp for Minsky Moment. Geared down under the wire by 10 to Beach Access, Lutsky, and Scrutinize.
Well, a lot of people thought this was going to be a 2-horse race. They would be wrong. It was a 1-horse race. Minsky Moment, 5 seconds in 7 career starts. Second-itis appears to be gone.
Yeah, and loves the off-going. That was his 4th race on the turf, his 2nd win, or on the sloppy track, and his 2nd win in the slop. And as they come into the stretch, he was loaded. Irad cuts him loose, and you heard it from Larry Colmus, his 4th win of the day. Been in South Florida all winter long. Gets back to New York and taking off just where he left off.
Yeah, Rajim Mirage on the 4 Beach Access, he made that early move, and you could tell that Irad was not worried. It actually helped him out a little bit, sped up the 1 a little bit. But it was just no match for the 9. And Chad Brown just continues to take these horses off long layoffs and just has them dead fit and ready to go.
5-year-old debut, Andy, pretty good from Minsky Moment here on this off track.
Brad made an interesting point to me and talking about Bobby Frankel saying it too, that injury-plagued horses, and obviously Minsky Moment, who hasn't run in almost a year and a half, has had a share of issues. An injury-plagued horse will often run its best race fresh. I think that was clearly the point here. It wasn't necessarily competitive behind him, but if he can stay sound and keep running like this, and those are big ifs, he could go on and do some decent things because he's always had some talent. He's just had trouble staying on the racetrack and getting the winner's circle. It's sometimes these big, easy, open-length wins are more a function of who was behind them, but he did look very good today.
Son of Claiborne's sire, Flatter, showing some talent here in his 5-year-old return to the races. and relishing this off-track Irad Ortiz Jr. this Saturday afternoon at Aqueduct. He has stolen the show, his 4th winner on the card. We're going to take a break in the action, still to come. The first ever Charlestown Classic included a Whitney winner and Hollywood Gold Cup winner, but Kendrick Carmouche stole the show on the local horse Researcher. This time, he's on board the morning line favorite. He returns to Charlestown. We'll be back.
This is a colt by Run Happy out of Addison Run. We bred here at Mockford Hall. Well, he's a big, strong, good bone, big old hip on him. Moves really well, has that kind of big cat-like walk when he just relaxes and gets rolling up and down the lane.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farms.
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. With yearlings bringing up to $650,000 and his first crop of 2-year-olds hitting the track, the sky's the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. Sign up now for a $200 new member bonus with promo code LIVE at NairaBets.com.
We're back on Fox Sports Saturday at the races. Use the hashtag ABR at the races and show off your fashion, your big scores, your favorite photos from around the track, or a watch party if you're making mint juleps for the Derby. I need a good recipe. Hashtag ABR at the races, and we'll share it on the show as we work our way to that first Saturday in May and beyond. We're going to be with you all summer long on Fox Sports 2.
I could see you crushing your mint leaves. I could see you, Greg Wolf.
Back in the day, used to make a very good mint julep.
Yeah, I could see it.
In New York, Minsky Moments getting his moment in the winner's circle. It's been a little while for him. Just his second win in now 8 career starts. Comes off the bench as a 5-year-old and gets the job done.
Yeah, congratulations to this 5-year-old horse by Flatter out of the Archers Bay mare, River Nor, now 2 for 8 lifetime. And like I said, Chad Brown does so good with these horses off this long of a layoff. And I'm wondering if he's going to go back to the turf with him or if he'll stay on the dirt. But I think it's a good sign that he kept him on the dirt today, especially with the muddy conditions, that he's doing well.
Let's take a look at the Naira Bets late pick 5 follow along, close to $70,000 in the total pool. Formful to this point. 2 legs left. Still a long way to go. Just need one upset.
We've said it before. You just need one. Just need one.
And to close it out, the 2 divisions of the New York Stallion Stakes, starting off with the Park Avenue division for 3-year-old fillies. Newly minted. Is she for real? She was brilliant first time out for Linda Rice. Put together an 87 buyer, winning by 5 3/4 lengths in her debut in the mud, Gary.
Yeah, she's coming back on only a week's rest. And so that tells me Linda Rice liked how she came back. She used that for a workout, possibly. That was a fast workout, if that's what that was used for. And it was on a sloppy track, which she'll get again today.
She's going to have to deal with the 8 stones in the road. Anytime you have a 3-time winner against a horse that just broke maidens, she's dangerous.
Back at the Russell Road, Hollywood Casino at Charlestown. Look at this price, $21.80. Paula Duke had tried to tell us ahead of time.
Well, this horse had good form in Maryland, and I think a lot of people out there do not dismiss Laurel Park. A lot of those horses have been shipping all around and have been winning. Clubman, Xavier Perez, Not for Love out of the Lemon Drop Kid mare. Otherwise perfect. Now 8 for 28 lifetime, and this horse got over $300,000 in the bank.
More stakes action ahead in the Dance to Bristol, purse of $100,000. Fillies and mares 4 and up at 7 furlongs. If you like the horse for course angle, you might like the 6, Lake Pontchartrain, 12-time winner on this surface.
Wow.
They're hammering tweeting right now. I broke Tweeting's maiden.
Really?
2 years ago. Bred by Glen Hill Farm. Was trained by Tom Proctor. She was claimed that first time out. She won pretty easy that day, but she's gone on. She's found, that was on the turf, and she's found new life on the main track since then.
Yeah, but thanks to you, we got no value that day. Went off as the favorite.
Well, she should have been.
The Dance to Bristol is coming up. You can double up your win payout at Charlestown. Naira Bet's going to double your win payout. Bet at least $5 to win on the Naira Bet app on the Charlestown Classic. If it hits, Naira Bet's doubles your payout, capped at $50 per player. Go to Naira.com for all the details. So that is coming up at the Charlestown Classic. Again, this should be a great rendition of this race. We talked about multiple winners returning in this race. The top 2 finishes are back. Those are all kind of the veterans of the handicap division. We got some new kind of upcoming 4-year-olds trying to make their presence felt as well.
Yeah, we've got jocks that have won this, including Kendrick Camarouche, as you had mentioned, and Javier Castellano. I believe he's won this race 3 times, beaten narrowly last year, and Johnny Velasquez, Hall of Famer, he's in town as well.
And we saw those 3 turns at this bull ring for 1 mile and an eighth. Kendrick Camarouche, of course, he will be aboard. War Story, the morning line favorite here at 7-2. Back when he won the very first rendition of this race, well, he did that with a local horse.
Feel like a homecoming to me, you know. It's just good to go back to West Virginia. I have a lot of friends and a lot of people that support my career, and a lot of fans, you know, a lot of good people in West Virginia, and it's gonna be a nice day. Hopefully it'll be a wonderful day. I think you gotta have the horse to run on them type of racetracks, especially bull rings, you know. So, you know, with that being said, you know, the experience really do help whenever you go there and been there before. Oh, I'm just looking to get a good break, you know. A good break really do help the horse in forward position, you know. You don't want to be too far out of it in West Virginia. And just let him relax and run his race, you know. He's an old timer. He know what time it is. Hopefully this time is his time.
Well, Kendrick, he has been on War Story before, and no surprise, he was aggressive when he was.
Yeah, Kendrick's a great gate rider. He's known for riding speed horses, but he can ride anything he wants. Sometimes you get stamped as a speed rider, and it's not always a good thing to be stamped with the style, and Kendrick can ride anything. He can ride on turf, he can run sprints, he can ride route races. I'll tell you one thing about Kendrick. He's one of the coolest customers, great guy to be around in the jocks room. Kendrick never has a bad day. It can be the ugliest day outside. He's beaten injuries and come back and done well. You heard him. That's where he got to his big start, was in West Virginia, and now he's in the big leagues in New York, doing well.
Well, and Jorge Navarro, he was joking a little bit because War Stories come so close.
Yeah.
He was 3rd in this race a couple years ago. He missed by a neck last year. He had XY Jet finally break through after a couple of narrow defeats in Dubai, so he knows maybe this is the year that the War Story can break through at Charlestown.
Yeah, maybe it is. He's run well here before. He's run well in some big races. He really has. He's sometimes overachieved. I don't know if he should be the favorite off those last 2 races, but when it comes to jockeys, when it comes to these racetracks, we used to have it at the old Pomona at Fairplex. It was Martin Pedrosa's place. Everybody wanted Martin on their horses, and everybody's going to want guys like Castellano on these horses. Guys that have had past success, to me, is like turf riders when it comes to this. It's very key, and I'm not saying that the rider makes a big difference. Regular, I think the rider makes a even bigger difference on these type of racetracks.
Agreed.
It'll be a fascinating rendition. Again, 3 turns, very short stretch. We'll talk more strategy as we get closer to our premier race coming up at the Charlestown Classic. Still to come, 2 divisions of the New York Stallion Stakes, newly minted. Looks to show that impressive debut win was no fluke. And after abandoning the Derby Trail, Bankit looks to cash in, cutting back in distance.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
I think the win program is a very positive and important thing for breeders, because if the stud farm supports the breeders that support their stallions, that's an important thing to me. I want to know that the stud farm also has the breeder's interest in their mind. This year we had a mare that we wanted to breed to a stallion that we thought might be a little bit over her budget, but when we realized that we had the win awards for our business plan, it worked perfectly into getting that mare to that stallion at WinStar.
So my name is Robbie Herzl. I'm the yearly manager here at Claiborne Farm, and we've got the first crop of Run Happies this year. Overall, I'm very, very pleased with them. So we have a colt out of Queen of America. He's really nice, looks just like his dad. Very pleased with how he's coming along. So there was a lot of demand for the weanlings last year. They sold for over 6 times their stud fee, and we're really excited for the yearlings to come through the sales, and we're expecting big things from them.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
See the sky open wide, catch the dream, the fire inside, standing tall until the end. I'll survive, I'm not falling down.
Justified, a 2-length lead as they come to the front of the field. The 37-year wait is over. American Pharaoh is finally the man.
The Pharaoh is rising now. He is moving like a tremendous machine.
A bird get out of there, hits the bird. A bird's got it out, they run it, they come on the way. And now, he's done immortal.
I'm not
Justified is the 13th Triple Crown winner.
First Saturday in May, just around the corner. We talked all about our Derby preview. Both Roadster, by the way, and Game Winner, one more work they're going to have next week. We're waiting to hear if it's going to come here in Southern California or out at Churchill Downs. Bob Baffert keeping an eye on the weather. Tickets to the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival, they're going fast. General admission, there's still $15 through April 30th. Enhance your experience with one of our all-inclusive premium hospitality packages. Buy tickets or reserve your seats at Ticketmaster.com or BelmontStakes.com. Belmont Stakes, where champions are crowned. New York Stakes Stallion Series coming up. The Park Avenue division for 3-year-old fillies, newly minted. Big-time debut, won by more than 5 lengths. First time out on a muddy surface at Aqueduct. Now comes start number 2.
Yeah, and on that day, she didn't break great. She sort of got left and then rushed, and then it was just cruise mode from there out. And there must not have been a ton of word on the backside because she was a little bit under 9-1, but she did it like she was 90 cents on the dollar. She looks tremendous in the paddock here.
Yeah, she does. And like you said, she didn't get away real good and then kind of rushed to the fence. But look at the stride on this filly. She's got the stride of the route filly, and you know, looks like she should be able to go on the way she accelerated, the way she came away at the 8th pole and lengthened her stride. But she's a big, long filly, got great action. And I guess the only question would be is coming back on a week, you know, would she be able to handle that mentally? She must be a filly that's got her head where it needs to be. Or I don't think Linda's a great horsewoman, and she wouldn't have run this filly back if she didn't think she could handle it mental-wise.
Ultra quick turnaround. And there's Linda Rice's numbers, breaking the maiden in a debut in a dirt sprint last 5 years, 23% win percentage. Not bad at all. We'll have this race for you coming up when we return. Park Avenue division of the New York Stallion Stakes. His Jockey Club Gold Cup win was one of the biggest upsets of all last year. Can the Street Lover return to his winning ways in his 6-year-old debut in the Charlestown Classic?
This successful son of AP Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast, a multiple Grade 1 winner and runner-up in the $16 million Pegasus World Cup. Flatter is adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record at stud. In the auction ring, Flatter topped the 2018 Fasig-Tipton July sale with a $520,000 yearly. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Run Happy was the fastest 3-year-old sprinter of his generation.
Run Happy is stamping his horses. They all got great necks, great hind legs. They all got a good walk, and this colt moves very, very well. Very smart. He hasn't turned a hair since we had him. First day we turned him out, he was very, very gentle in his paddock and did everything right. He's got an exceptional pedigree.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on Fox Sports Saturday at the Races. It's brought to you in part by champion sprinter Run Happy. Race medication free, stands for $25,000 at Claiborne Farm in legendary stall number 1. Perfect 7 for 7 in his career while sprinting, including a win in the Breeders' Cup Sprint in record time at Keeneland. The Dance to Bristol coming up next from Charlestown. Purse of $100,000, fillies and mares, 4 and up, and it is even money on the 5-year-old mare that Gary Stevens rode to victory in her maiden-breaking score at Del Mar back in 2017. Tweeting, daughter of Uncle Mo, looking for her 3rd victory.
Yeah, you know what? I'm looking at Lake Pontchartrain. This mare, she's won over half of her 23 starts at Charlestown. She started there 23 times, won 12 of those, and she's had 4 places, 4 shows there. She's proven that she can handle the 7/8 of a mile, coming off of a stakes win last time at Charlestown.
So tweeting from post 5 for Jorge Navarro. That's the favorite. Next store in post 6, Lake Pontchartrain, looking to post her 19th victory of her career. Here's the Dance to Bristol. Paul Espinoza with the call.
Last one up will be Malabar. The Gray Malabar. Now co-favorites. Late money coming in on Lake Pontchartrain. Tweeting for both 8 to 5. They're in the gate. Tweeting a little edgy, post 5. Lake Pontchartrain ducks her head. Get her situated. And they're off in the Dance to Bristol. Divine Mischief heads out for the lead, tweeting away well too. Lake Pontchartrain eases into her stride, then Isotope and Malabar takes back off at the pace. So it is Divine Mischief under the wire in front by 3 parts of a length from tweeting in second. Then comes Isotope. Those big strides of hers, she runs along in third. Then comes She's Quiet at the inside, Lake Pontchartrain, Indy's Lady and a 4-wide Malabar at the back. But Divine Mischief's in front. Divine Mischief ran an opening quarter in 24 and 3. She takes this field along in front by 2 over tweeting. Then comes She's Quiet up the inside of Isotope. Lake Pontchartrain has advanced inside of Indy's Lady and Malabar is at the back. Divine Mischief still runs the point onto the backstretch. Tweeting's been angled to the 2 path to give chase, now a length behind. Isotope is a clear third. She's Quiet needs to find more. Then Lake Pontchartrain, who's on the move. The defending champion has 4 lengths to find. Then Indy's Lady and Malabar. They race for the far turn. Divine Mischief shaken up on the front end now. Tweeting under confident handling. Then Isotope and Lake Pontchartrain. Looks like she's all in. Not doing enough yet. They're inside the quarter pole. And Divine Mischief is still there from tweeting the half in 48 and 1. Divine Mischief here's tweeting and Isotope. Lake Pontchartrain is indeed all in and not gaining. Divine Mischief tries to steal this one on the front end. Tweeting in between and Isotope down the center. Here's Lake Pontchartrain trying to hit her stride late, but Divine Mischief keeps on finding. Isotope runs at her late. Divine Mischief and JD Acosta take the Dance to Bristol. They took them all the way. Isotope ran at her late. Tweeting was third. Lake Pontchartrain fourth the final time. 125 and 3.
Divine Mischief, J.D. Acosta, stubborn down the stretch, picks up the 5th win of her career.
Yeah, and she popped a gate, got a great break, and got into that first turn and slowed things down. They went the first quarter in 24. They went in 50 and slowed things down and was able to wait until he turned down the lane to use everything. Everybody was working hard behind him and had plenty to hold him off in the final strides.
Yeah, JD did a tremendous job. Another local jockey knowing the racetrack and getting the lead and to be able. Isotope made that big move, the 4 on the outside, but switched to the wrong lead there late. And if you're live in that pick 4, you get a nice little price again. $20 winner to a $28 winner. So hopefully you got it still going over there at Charlestown.
Yeah, we're seeing some numbers here. 13-1 on Divine Mischief. Now 5 for 12 and the second win in 3 tries at Charlestown as we shift gears and head back to New York for the New York Stallion Stakes Park Avenue division. And we'll see if Newly Minted can follow up that brilliant debut with another victory and giving up a lot of experience to some other more seasoned runners here in this group. But she showed a ton of talent in that debut that we showed you. Here is pretty spectacular to kick off our post parade. Samuel Camacho Jr. in the irons.
Yeah, 90-1 first time out. That's the thing you need to know.
Canarsie Princess at 10-1.
11-1 first time out, and actually won this filly by Big Brown on a sloppy racetrack. So 10-1, maybe to get in the try or the super.
Daughter of Dublin, Fair Lassie.
Yeah, speed here by Fair Lassie, and maybe she can get back to that first race.
Blinkers on, Dancing Slippers.
They probably needs more than blinkers on to win this race.
Here's the favorite for Linda Rice, Newly Minted.
And just got a giant number first time out and did it professionally after breaking a tiny bit slow.
7-5 on the Daughter of Central Banker. Kid is Frosty. Brad Cox sends this one out.
Well, you can't argue with this filly's form. She always brings her lunch pail to the racetrack, and she's run a good race every time.
Alpha Door, the 7, still a maiden.
Yeah, still a maiden, and last time blew a 4.5 length lead. I still can't believe watching that replay she lost that race.
Bengal Gal is the 9, comes in from Fairgrounds, still a maiden.
Got dead left last time out and made a giant move. This horse could be a sucker horse or could be the real deal.
And Stones in the Road put together 3 consecutive victories and then wound up 3rd in the stakes race last start.
Now, those consecutive victories were obviously in State Bred, where she's going back to, and speed is her weapon, and the other weapon she has 3 wins where a lot of these horses don't even have a win.
She is 7-2 on the board. For more, let's go to Andy Serling.
Thanks, Greg. Well, the 5 Newly Minted's going to try to come back just 7 days after breaking her maiden. Now, keep in mind, while it was listed as a muddy track, and obviously you see we're dealing with a sloppy sealed track today, but they're very different surfaces. That was a track that was muddy but harrowed and drying out. And arguably, speed was getting good, especially inside speed at that point. So she gets a different surface today, and she's going to have to deal with the 8 Stones in the Road in all likelihood breathing down her neck. She's good. She ran a fast race last time out. Different circumstance. She's got to come back and do it a week later. I do prefer her of the 2 favorites, but I think they're both very vulnerable as we switch to the 8 Stones in the Road. Now, Stones in the Road got it done here on this show. Fox Sports Saturday the Races back in February. But that was a day that the biggest competition got left in the gate, and none of the other speeds appeared. And it was also a time when the rail and the inside got very strong, just as it was in her prior win 20 days earlier on February 3rd. Both of those wins were achieved by getting optimal circumstances, and she ran well. The interesting thing is her last start, where she finished 3rd, I actually think she ran every bit as well, if not better, in finishing 3rd, because in that race she was dueling in a vicious pace that took a significant toll on the other speed horse, and she did well to finish 3rd. She's placed well outside, potentially, of the other speed, so even if Newly Minted shows up with speed, she can stalk. The question is, how good is she? And the question also is, can they set the race up for a closer? Now, I don't like Bengal Gal, who I think was 3rd by default in a much subpar field last time, opens or not. Whereas Alpha Dora, and Paul touched on this, the rider got maybe more tired than the horse did in the stretch last time out, and the finish didn't help. The other thing that didn't help her last time was him really urging her around the 3/8 pole, and maybe Gary can comment on that, that really probably moved too soon, opened it up too much, and she tired. If you made a speed figure for 6 or 6.5 furlongs, she actually ran a race that could be competitive. I think it's a very interesting long shot in this race, but we'll see what Maggie thinks as we head out to the track.
Well, Andy, I'm glad you brought up Alphadora as in regards to her getting out on the turn pretty badly. Well, she comes back in here wearing a burr. So that is affixed to the outside, the right side of her bit. And it's a kind of rubber disc that has, well, little bristles on the inside of it. So when the rider pulls on that rein, it'll kind of tighten things up and a horse will be less likely to lean that way. So they're trying to correct that habit that she displayed in her last effort. Look, she looks fine as a long shot, and I wouldn't try to talk anybody out of her, but we'll see if that piece of equipment corrects her this time around. Now, coming in off of a 7-day rest at 3-2 is Newly Minted, and Linda Rice not adverse and has had some success in this kind of move. Dirt sprints on 1 to 7 days off. She's 4 for 11, 36%. And this gal, what you look for in horses coming back off short rest, especially young ones, young fillies, are they nervous? Have they lost weight? She has done neither of that. She's super relaxed here in the paddock. And her weight looks great. So she looks good as your current favorite. Now, as Paul said, Bengal Gal, she could be a sucker play, but I'm going to be that sucker today. And she just looks like a horse that may like this sloppy sealed racetrack because she's very kind of lightly framed. And a lot of times those types of horses will skip over this surface. She's very fit in her second start. I know she faced opens last time out, but she did, finish up that race well. And if things heat up front, then she's going to be the one, I think, that picks up the pieces, guys.
Maggie, thanks. And it looks like there is plenty of pace to go at each other early in this race. And Bengal Gal, talking about the 9 from the outside here, been drilling very sharp at Keeneland.
You know the best bet on the board right now at 5-1? Is Irad Ortiz on the 6 horse at 5-1, going for his 5th win today. Give me the hot jock in a race like this.
Listen, I understand where Maggie's going with Bengal Gal, the way she ran last time. And I think it's encouraging that Michael Stidham had her at Keeneland thinking, okay, let's, maybe I was going to try to get her over there, get her a race. But obviously being a New York bred, you want to get her back into this. And then to stick her in a $200,000 race, it's probably a lot of confidence he has on this with this horse, this 9.
So, as Gary mentioned, Irad Ortiz, he's looking for number 5 on the 6. Kid is Frosty, but it is the horse next door, Newly Minted, the 5 filly, who is the one to beat for Linda Rice off that brilliant debut. New York Stallion Series, Park Avenue Division. Let's go to Larry Colmus.
They're off. An awkward beginning for Bengal Gal, left behind at the rear of the field. It is Stones in the Road and Canarsie Princess. And between those two, Newly Minted sent along. So these 3 with Alphadora a length and a half behind them, and Kid is Frosty in 5th. And they're followed by Pretty Spectacular. Fair Lassie is next, Dancing Slippers, and slow beginning Bengal Gal at the rear of the field, racing for the far turn. Newly Minted going at it with Stones in the Road, and these two are together through a 22.71 opening quarter mile. Kid is Frosty and Alphadora right behind them. Canarsie Princess drops back in 5th. And then it's Fair Lassie, followed by Bengal Gal in between horses, Dancing Slippers, and Pretty Spectacular, and they're making their way toward the top of the stretch. Stones in the Road, Newly Minted, Kid is Frosty coming up to the outside of them, and Alphadora 4 wide. 46.2 for the half, they're into the stretch. Newly Minted, turning for home, cutting the corner in front. Kid is Frosty on the outside, tries to put in a bid in second. Toward the inside, it is Stones in the Road, and then it's Alphadora, but it's Jose Lescano and Newly Minted, and they've run away. Newly Minted by 6 lengths coming down to the wire. Newly Minted wins it for fun. Kid is Frosty was 2nd. Bengal Gal got 3rd. Alphadora was 4th.
Well, Jose Lescano, he had been the recent rider on Kid is Frosty the 6th, but he knows a good thing when he sees it. Was on Newly Minted for the debut and retains that mount. That was impressive.
Very impressive. And coming back on 7 days rest and hooked with the number 8, Stones in the Road, and had every right to throw in the towel here, but she shows her quality. And Jose Lescano, completely sitting motionless still, takes a peek back, and she just starts lengthening right here. I don't think she quickens up a whole bunch. Her stride just gets longer, takes another. He never let her run. This is like a 2-minute lick in the morning, just an exercise for her. And man, this filly New York bred or not, she can really, really run, Paul.
You know what when Stones in the Road came up to her, 3-time winner, she put probably about a half a side in front of her, and Lescano was not worried one bit. Yeah, and then when he just hit the button, it was night. Good call by you, Kidis Frosty, and good call by Maggie. Bengal Gal gets away from the gate. When she starts learning that, she's going to be an okay filly.
This was one horse and the rest. Newly minted, and Gary pointed out, and she's just an hour and a half the best. That was a very, very quick fraction. She didn't really break even that sharply. The number 8, Stones in the Road, was able to get that jump, but Jose Lescano moved her up inside of that filly, and Stones in the Road, she ran okay this winter with things going her own way. She was no factor today except in the front end early. Newly minted. This is a very, very nice horse. She's got a big pedigree, and Central Banker has been a very, very good freshman sire in the New York breds.
And Gary, you thought when we saw her debut, Longer might be in her wheelhouse.
Yeah, I think this filly will run all day long. I think she'll run in open company. If they choose to take her out of her division.
They have to take a shot, right, Gary?
Heck yes, yes. I'd love to see her go a 1-turn mile, and it'll be interesting to see what Linda decides to do.
I tell you what, after these 2 races, I would think if they run her open, they'll be praying for rain, and I would think the other contestants would not be praying for rain. The way she skipped over that racetrack today, woof.
Newly minted, perfect 2 for 2. Both those wins coming on off tracks. Meanwhile, back at Charlestown, Divine Mischief, big price here, 13-1, returns 29-20, and Divine Mischief wins for the 5th time in 12 career starts.
Look at that double, $275 to start off your pick 4. Or actually, there's your pick 3 going into the Charlestown Classic, but to find Mischief, out of Into Mischief, out of the Vicar Mare, Vibrant. This horse does like Charlestown, 2 for 3 lifetime.
Trained by Javier Contreras, owned by Breeze, Easy, and J.D. Acosta. Aboard for that winning ride. The main event is coming up next. $1 million on the line for the Grade 2 Charlestown Classic. Couple of previous winners returning. In last year's champion, Something Awesome, and 2-time winner Imperative, the 9-year-old, back for more as well. We'll set this up for you when we return. Multiple past winners, of course, returning, trying to repeat that success. Something Awesome shooting for back-to-back scores, while Imperative going for a Charlestown Classic trifecta. We'll be back.
This graded stakes winner and multiple Grade 1 performer by Tapit has become one of the nation's leading sires of 2-year-olds. Ranked number 1 in his crop by number of winners, he sired 11 stakes horses in 2017, including graded stakes winners Wild Shot and Oklahoma Derby winner Untrapped. At the sales, his yearlings have sold up to $480,000. Trap Shot, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. Sign up now for a $200 new member bonus with promo code LIVE at NairaBets.com.
Run Happy is simply super. He polishes off an outstanding campaign with a dominant victory in the Malibu.
No medication, no problem. Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
As commercial breeders, we're always looking for athletes. When I first saw Always Dreaming, I immediately knew he was the type of stallion that we want to breed to bring foals to market. With a great hip, a prominent shoulder, and a huge athletic walk, I knew he was the type of stallion to make his mark on the business. I'm Rob Tribbett, and this season, I'm always dreaming.
You're watching Fox Sports Saturday at the Races, presented in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Great to have you with us. Charlestown Classic still to come. Right now, though, it is back to Oaklawn. We have the Rainbow ahead. Let's go to Nancy Holthus.
Thanks so much, Greg. It's interesting because half the field, 3 in this one, are maidens hoping to break their graduation day in stakes fashion, but the favorite, heavy favorite, is the number 7 Tappet Star. He shortens up after a mile and a 16th when facing winners for the first time in older allowance company. He did score the maiden very impressively at today's distance of 6 furlongs, and his owner, Bill Gossage, interestingly enough, guys, is Deputy Chief of Staff to the Governor of Arkansas. Good to know if we need a favor. Greg?
All right, Nancy, thank you. 2 left remaining to load here in the Rainbow. From Hot Springs, Arkansas, and Vic Stauffer with the call.
They're at the post. They're off. Rusty Cage and Tappet Star with Icon Who away sharply. Then No Debate just in behind that lead, followed by Young Bull and Destined to be a Star. Rusty Cage is a handful and rank up the backstretch. Rusty Cage pulls his way to the lead, a half length in front of Tappet Star in second. No Debate moves smartly up into third for Edgar Morales. He's 2 from the front. Those 3 are 2 lengths clear of Young Bull, then Destined to be a Star and Icon Who. They leave the backstretch in the 46th. Rainbow. Rusty Cage leads. He's a half length in front of Tappet Star in second. Now these 2 have sprinted 2 clear of No Debate, who's got to go from there. Then comes Young Bull, and at the top of the stretch, it is still Rusty Cage and Tappet Star. Rusty Cage still a half length in front of Tappet Star, who comes to take him on. These 2 are now far in front of Young Bull and No Debate. It is Tappet Star and Rusty Cage. Young Bull is third, but 3.5 behind Tappet Star and Rusty Cage, and they are throwing it down in the Rainbow, and Tappet Star is now inching away. Rusty Cage, Young Bull might get by his stablemate for second, but the Rainbow goes to Tappet Star. Tappet Star beat Young Bull by 2. Rusty Cage was third, and Destined to be a Star finished 4th.
Tappet Star, he's now won 2 of his last 3 starts, wins cutting back in distance today.
And he was impressive, and they were throwing it down for a little while, and then Tappet Star found a whole new gear when he hit the 16th pole, comes away and wins very easily.
Yeah, you can see Jareth Loveberry, the jockey aboard the 3 Rusty Cage, was trying to harness some of that speed early, and he was having none of it. I'll tell you what, he put up a pretty good fight, but Tappet Star just gets the job done. The son of Double Irish, the Arcbred, he won it really nice. Give credit to the 1-2 Young Bull who swoops up the exacta here.
Yeah, Young Bull, I mean, he made a nice run the last 1/8 of a mile and actually wound up being an easy second in the end.
7-1-3 finish back at Oaklawn. Meanwhile, in New York at Aqueduct, in this Park Avenue division of the New York Stallion Stakes, newly minted. She was impressive returns off a week layoff when she won that debut to win again.
Yeah, newly minted. I mean, she's done both of them on a sloppy racetrack, but with her action, I think she'll run on fast, I think she'll run on turf, and I think she'll run long.
Let's take a look at the Pick 5 follow-along as we move into this final leg of the Naira Bets late Pick 5 sequence. Again, close to $70,000 in that pool. 1 leg remains. We'll see what happens here. Fairly formful to this point.
Hopefully you've hunched it to your hands bleed, so you got like 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 times.
I mean, this was one you could have had multiple times.
Yes.
You ever take that?
Sometimes you got to take that approach, just like anything else. Like, I am not
Play the hand you're given.
I'm not the handicapper that looks at the race form and sees 3 to 5 and tries to beat that horse. If the 3 to 5 can't be beat, sometimes you just got to single.
Times Square division of the New York Stallion Stakes, and Bankit making his return. Steve Asmussen tried him on the Derby trail for a little while. Now he's going to go back to sprinting.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to sprinting, which probably is what he wants to do. If you look at his earlier races, and Andy was talking about Central Banker, what a good sire he has been, and he has precocious too, but his sprint races are good. And you know what? He didn't disgrace himself in the Smarty Jones or the Southwest either. So the cutback in distance is going to help him out big time. And he's going back into his own company, New York Reds.
Hey, he didn't even embarrass himself in the Louisiana Derby. He got wiped out at the start.
Yeah.
He was knocked completely out of the race. Runs on. He was beaten 9 3/4 lengths, but he had an excuse.
Yeah.
Naira Bets again, doubling up your payoff on your win bet. At Charlestown for the Classic, bet at least $5 to win on the Naira Bets app on the Charlestown Classic. And if it hits, Naira Bets will double your payout, capped at $50 per player. Go to nairabets.com for all the details. And that is coming up next. Let's take a look at the field for this Grade 2 $1 million event. And right now, Diamond King, the 4-year-old, and Rally Cry, co-favorites on the board at 5-2. John Service trains Diamond King, whose 4-year-old return to the race was very impressive.
It was very impressive, and I can see where everybody's going. Listen, when you look, the hottest trainer in the world right now has been the Service brothers, and that's why you're getting 5-2. Rally Cry or Todd Pletcher at 5-2. I'm not surprised that War Story, your morning line favorite, is where he's at right now because he's just not in the same form he was last year.
Well, from the Kentucky Derby to multiple Breeders' Cups and 2 Pegasus World Cups, War Story, he has seen just about all of the best the world has to offer. Can he cash in to kick off his 7-year-old campaign? We will find out. Kendrick Carmouche aboard the 7-year-old for Jorge Navarro when we come back in the Charlestown Classic.
Good Samaritan, the last great son of Harlan's Holiday. A debut winner at Saratoga, followed by 14 consecutive graded stakes performances. A Grade 2 winner on dirt and turf.
Good Samaritan to the Breeders' Cup.
Good Samaritan has taken the lead and he's pulling away.
Out of the family of Sky Mesa, Bernstein, and Champion outstandingly. The last great son of Harlan's Holiday is only at WinStar Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com. Sign up now for a $200 new member bonus with promo code LIVE at nairabets.com.
Sormo and Imperative have taken the lead on the outside. Game on Dude is all out. He is back running in second. Moreno is third. In an absolute shocker, Imperative and Kent DeSormo have won the Charlestown Classic. It was Game on Dude second.
Well, that was Imperative's first win in the Charlestown Classic, beating Game On Dude at 26-1. He would come back 3 years later to do it again. And now, guys, he's trying to win this race for a third time for a third different trainer.
That was 5 years ago, and his form has just really tailed off. I mean, his last race was a starter allowance race at Oaklawn Park where he was beaten 11 lengths, 26 lengths before that. So, I mean, I think he's seen his day. And it should be appreciated. He's earner of over $3 million, and not too shabby in his own right. But I think he's seen faster days.
Post parade coming up. It's brought to you by OCD Pellets, celebrating over 10 years of supporting the equine industry with their 2-in-1 bone and joint supplement. For more information, go to OCDPellets.com. Here's Mongolian Groom, sent out by Anabesh Gambat.
Good third behind a great finish between Gift Box and McKenzie in the big cap.
Roy Navarro, he has War Story, also sends out Nanoosh.
Yeah, this one used to be in the Diodoro barn and has got some experience at Oaklawn Park, an outsider here.
Javier Castellanos won this 3 times prior. He's on Diamond King.
Yeah, speed here with Diamond King. Gonna have to stretch it out around the 1 1/8, but almost got it done against Lone Sailor in the Okie Derby.
Todd Pletcher won this race with Stanford in 2016. He sends out Rally Cry.
The worry about Rally Cry, does he really love 2 turns during the 1 turn? That one race at Saratoga at a 1 1/8 off of freshening might be able to get it done.
Here's the former 2-time winner, the 9-year-old Imperative.
Listen, tough to get to. Like Gare was saying a little bit earlier, 196 to 1 in the Pegasus Cup, and a starter allowance losing by 11 is not a recipe for today.
Thought we'd see Discreet Lover in the Excelsior. He scratched out of this race, so this will be his 6-year-old return for the upset winner of the Jockey Club Gold Cup of last year.
Yeah, and you know what? He raced in this race last year, and he was up to the pace a little bit too much. I think he'll be back farther today.
Last year's winner, Something Awesome.
Another horse that is just not in the same form as he was last year, and I would pass.
Here's the local hope, Runnin' to Love You's reeled off 8 straight wins.
Yeah, and speed is his game, and he just keeps on winning. 11 for 14 over the surface.
Kendrick Carmouche on War Story for Jorge Navarro, and here is the 10 Unbridled Juan for trainer Jose Corrales.
Yeah, obviously War Story, 2 races over the racetrack, a 2nd and a 3rd. Unbridled Juan has got some talent, runs some good races, but has never been over the Charlestown surface.
Now let's look at the past winners of this race. There was some pushback on even creating a big event like this from the local horsemen. They said, oh, all these big names are going to come in and steal the money. In fact, it was a local horse who won the first 2 runnings of the race.
Wow, for Jeff Runco, who's a local trainer there. He can win races from 4.5 furlongs, obviously, to this distance. But if you look at the horses, Gary, the Game On Dude was a champion. Some decent little names on that list.
Yeah, and I think you look at Johnny Velasquez and Javier Castellano coming in again today. They've been in here in the past, but these guys don't follow empty wagons, and they're the ones that are being bet right now. So I think as much as they're betting the horses, they're betting these jocks today as well, because of that fact that these 2 Hall of Famers, they're in there for a reason, and that's to take some of this $1 million back with them.
Last year's edition, War Story, year by year, is getting closer and closer. But again, as you mentioned, these top 2 finishers, Something Awesome, War Story, not coming in with the same form as last year.
Yeah, but War Story, the whole story with him is Jorge Navarro and his percentage with horses that are coming off layoffs, and it's huge at 33%. And he's focused. He actually had this horse in a week ago, scratched him. He was in New York and scratched him for this particular spot. So he's had some extremely good works in Florida leading up to this race. He's a fresh horse right now. So I'd look for him to rebound under Kendrick Carmouche today and run a huge race.
Paul War Story has faced American Pharoah in the Derby. He ran in a couple of Breeders' Cups. He faced Arrogate, California Chrome, among others. Gun Runner 4 times. He has not had a break since he was a 3-year-old, finally getting that break, and now he comes in fresh.
Yeah, he does. He comes in fresh, but the worry is he danced his last dance. Can he come back? Jorge Navarro's so good at this kind of thing, and you can see Diamond King looking tremendous, galloping out there for John Service and Javier Castellano. But to get back to War Story, if he brings his A game, he'll be right there at the wire, but I just don't know if that's there, if there's any left in the tank.
Meanwhile, there is Discreet Lover. We've talked a lot about that big upset he had, and Uriah St. Louis said on a couple of occasions when he hasn't fired, like in this race last year, he was closer to the pace than they really wanted to be.
He's got to come from way out of it. He really does.
He likes to make one run.
And the pace last year was 1:13 and change. Now, it's going to be slower around multiple turns. I get that. But he might get a little bit more pace today, and you can't take him out of his rhythm. You heard Kendrick Carmouche's, if you didn't earlier, he was saying, listen, you got to be closer to the pace. You can't be too far back to win in West Virginia. Well, you know what? When you have a horse like Discreet Lover that runs his races like that, Gary, where he makes that one move, you can't take him out of his comfort zone, and you got to hope the race falls apart.
No, and a couple years ago, he was laying closer to the pace, and a lot of times as a horse gets older, they develop that style. And they can get moody. If you try and take them out of their game, they turn around at you and they look at you like, really? You want me to lay closer? No, I run at one time during the race, and it's the last quarter of a mile. So that's where he's going to be. He's going to be back towards the back of the pack, and they're just hoping that he can make that big, long, sustained move, turning into the backside for the last time.
Well, and again, a local horse brings a lot of intrigue into this year's running. Running to Love You, we're looking at right now. He has reeled off 8 consecutive wins. Obviously loves Charlestown. He's 11 for 14 here. What kind of chance do you give him?
I give any horse with a hometown advantage especially coming off this long streak that he's on right now of 8 wins. You've got to give him respect. I've gone into a lot of small racetracks on some pretty good horses that I eventually went on and won at some bigger venues, but I've gone in there and been embarrassed by a local hero. So if they're going in there with no respect for him, then they're making a mistake.
He used to be a real handful as well at race time, this horse. And his trainer, Timothy Graham, thinks he may have turned a corner a little bit with his antics, and right now appears to be behaving himself. So that is a good sign. Get signed up, play along. You can bet this race and all the races that we bring you each and every day with Naira Bets. Go to NairaBets.com or the Naira Bets app. Bet 200 and a new member bonus. You will get $200 in your account when you use that promo code LIVE at NairaBets.com or the Naira Bets app. So 9-1 on the local hope. The 8 running to love you as we take a look at the 4 Rally Cry, whose best moment of his career had to be in that Aladar at Saratoga when he put up that 110 buyer.
Yeah, he's run some big races, and he came back after that and was second, beaten 10 lengths by a gun runner who went on to be Horse of the Year. But this horse carries a lot of class. He's 6 years old, and coming off of a decent race in last year's Woodward against Yoshida. One of the better older horses in the country last year. Turf horse, dirt horse, it didn't really matter, but that field was loaded as well with Gunvera in there. He's faced Diversify. He's faced some class horses.
Well, 3 out of his 4 wins have been off a layoff, and they've been giant. 95 buyer, 105 buyer, 110 buyer. So I would think that's the approach Todd's is taking. Fresh is better.
Well, it's a 4-year-old right now for John Service, Diamond King, who's our current favorite. Andy, what are your thoughts on the Charlestown Classic?
I think our friend Tom Amos, who got beaten in the nose last week in the Oaklawn handicap, wishes he decided to run this one for $1 million. It's wide open. It's hard because, Diamond King, he's not really a router. I know he's done okay going long. I wonder if he'd be better going shorter. Rally Cry's a funny horse. Rally Cry had an injury after the Woodward, and I'm surprised. Maybe I just didn't hear this right. I'm surprised to see him back, and I'm glad to see him back. If Rally Cry were to run his best race, he would win this race. His race in the Woodward was sensational. Keep in mind, he was involved in the pace, and the horses that were involved in the pace were the ones that came back and ran well out of the Woodward, including the horse Leo Frick, who finished 3rd. He won the Clark later at Grade 1. I just don't trust him off the long layoff. And how many lives is he going to have, right, as a 6-year-old? Diamond King and Desire Speed, Discreet Lover. He's got to start his move pretty early on this bull ring. Is he going to be able to withstand it in the stretch? I'll tell you what. I look at this race, and I think the 1, Mongolian Groom, he might be the now horse, a 4-year-old who's improving at the right time, draws a good inside post. What's wrong with 6-1 on him in this race?
Well, that is trainer Anabesh Ganbat talking about the 1 Mongolian Groom. It's just his 2nd ever starter at Charlestown. He had the eventual Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint winner, Mongolian Saturday, run 2nd in the Researcher Stakes. That was all the way back in 2013. But we'll see. Mongolian Groom, couple back, was a winner here in Southern California.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a huge surprise. Giovanni Franco climbed aboard for his last 3 races, and he's improved dramatically in those last 3 races. So I think Andy's right. At 6-1, wouldn't be a big surprise in this corner.
The $1 million Grade 2 Charlestown Classic, defending champion from last year, the 7, Something Awesome, looking to go back-to-back. The 9-year-old Imperative. He'll break from post 5, trying to win this race for a 3rd time in his career. And there is War Story with Kendrick Carmouche from post 9, moving in line. Paul Espinosa with the call from Charlestown.
They're in the gate. And they're off in the Charlestown Classic. And Diamond King away in good order. There goes the gray, running to love ya, outside of Rally Cry, who runs along in that 3rd spot in the early stages. Mongolian Groom has been passed by Nanouche. Then comes War Story, who tries to work his way in from his outside post position. Unbridled One moves up a spot past Discreet Lover, then last year's champion, Something Awesome, and a 2-time Classic champion Imperative at the back of the pack. Diamond King takes him into the stretch for the first time, and Runnin' to Love Ya, the West Virginia Breeders' Classic champion, is right alongside of him. The pace is measured, 24 seconds flat, 1 lap to go in the Classic. Diamond King and Runnin' to Love Ya are 1-2, and Rally Cry has been angled into the 3 path to give chase from 3rd. Up the inside, Mongolian Groom is forwardly placed, Unbridled One 3 wide, Nanouche in between. Something Awesome has moved up into 7th. Then comes War Story, Discreet Lover, and Imperative still at the back. Diamond King in front, Run Into Love You alongside of him, and Rally Cry still 3 wide in third. Unbridled Ron runs along in fourth, then comes Nanoosh and Something Awesome. Mongolian Groom dropping back, then War Story, Discreet Lover, and Imperative. They head to the 3/8 pole, and the West Virginia Breds in front. Run Into Love Ya has taken the lead from Diamond King, who fights right back along the inside. Rally Cry comes under pressure, then comes Unbridled Ron, Nanoosh, Something Awesome, and War Story. Back up top, Run Into Love Ya and Diamond King slugging it out. Rally Cry is all in from third, then Unbridled One, Something Awesome, and War Story running on from behind. Run Into Love Ya's in front. Diamond King going to make him earn it in the final furlong. Run Into Love Ya trying to run into the history books. Diamond King along his inside. These two to decide it in the Classic. It's the Gray Rocket, Run Into Love Ya, and he makes history. The West Virginia Bred has won the Charlestown Classic over Diamond King, War Story, and Rally Cry. The hometown faithful erupt. Run Into Love Ya in 150 and 2.
A local horse does it again, make it 9 in a row, and this one on the big stage for Run Into Love Ya.
And I'll tell you what, he looked great coming by the grandstand the first time, just parked on the outside of Rally Cry, or excuse me, of Diamond King, and early, turning into the backstretch, he made the lead, and then Rally Cry rallied back inside of him, and the table was set.
This is awesome. This is so cool to see. This is why we come to the horse races. This is why this is considered a giant upset. West Virginia breds don't beat a lot of Kentucky breds like this, but a horse like this, out of a sire, a lot of people don't even know, and I've never even heard of. Fiber Sond, I hope I'm saying that right, is now just won $1 million race, and congratulations to all the connections. Timothy Graham did a great job because he had to sort of battle a little bit. He didn't get anything his own way. He had to really battle the three the whole way around.
And Oscar Flores, he rode him great. He knows this horse great. And the versatility. I mean, winning from 4.5 furlongs to 1.1 miles, 7 furlongs. He's got 22 speeds. That was fun to watch. Congratulations.
We head to New York with more stakes action. Times Square division of the New York Stallion Stakes. For 3-year-olds, the boys turn, and Blind Willie McTell, 8-5 favorite. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
Thanks, and that's where we'll begin here, Greg, with Blind Willie McTell. He's coming back in off a bit of a layoff after a minor issue or injury for trainer Linda Rice, and he looks great here. Look, he's handled a track like this as far as surface is concerned in the past. He looks fit. He looks ready to go. Number 11, though, Thorny Tail, I thought skipped over this surface quite nicely. He's run well on a sealed track before, and he looks fit, solid, and very focused here today. Number 4 is Bank-It for Steve Asmussen. This horse is completely changed physically. He's lost a lot of the muscle mass behind the saddle, which could be why he doesn't seem to get out of the gate anymore. Now, if things heat up as he turns back in distance to this 6.5, maybe he can pick up the pieces. But, Andy, I don't feel as though this is the same Bank-It that was running against these New York breds previously in his career.
I think Bank-It's the horse to beat. I think his connections got a little bit Triple Crown fever. It's understandable. They thought they might have a horse after he ran that reasonable race in the Springboard Mile. Keep in mind, he lost to Long Range Toddy, who did win the Rebel. He's cutting back in distance, and that's what he needs. He's not a speed horse anymore. Sometimes they have speed when they're young, and they just grow out of it. And I think the pace is going to be hot, but Blind Willie McTell is very good. He should sit a stalking trip, and that's the 8, Blind Willie McTell, outside of Kosciuszko and Hushin. And he's the horse to beat, I guess, but I think Bank-It's going to come running. To me, it's those two. The 11, Thorny Tail, is a talented runner, and if things don't work out for those two, he's the one who picks up the pieces. They look like the main players. That's why they're the 3 choices as we head upstairs, the one and only Larry Colmus.
And the last horse goes into the starting gate. They're all in line. We're ready for the start. They're off. Blind Willie McTell started quickly, Hushin on the inside, flashing some early foot as well. Then Captain Frost and Thorny Tail. A length farther back to Seed Money, who's going up in between horses. And then it's Funny Guy and Kosciuszko on the inside. Bank-It is next, and BB Banker is last up the backstretch. Hushin's in front. Hushin the leader as they head toward the half-mile pole. It's a length and a half advantage in a 22.21 quarter. Blind Willie McTell is running along in second. Captain Frost is third on the outside. Then it's Seed Money, followed by Funny Guy. And outside of them, Thorny Tail goes up 3 wide within 3.5 lengths of the lead. Break of another 4 lengths more, and then it's Bankit and Kosciuszko down on the inside as they make their way toward the top of the stretch. BB Banker at the back of the pack. So up front, Hushin's the one to catch. Blind Willie McTell's alongside, 45.34 the half. These two turn for home together. Funny Guy, third on the outside and closing in as they come into the final furlong. Blind Willie McTell and Funny Guy. These are the two, and Hushin is back running in third on the inside. Blind Willie McTell and Funny Guy locked in battle. Funny Guy on the outside. Blind Willie McTell battles on inside. These two coming down to the line head and head. Funny Guy's got it. Funny Guy's gonna do it a half a length. Blind Willie McTell was second, Thorny Tail was third, and Hushin was fourth.
Funny Guy guts this one out for the John Terranova barn.
Yeah, and a nice sustained run there. Funny Guy and Rajiv Marad back off the pace right now is the number 8, Blind Willie McTell, making the lead coming into the stretch, and then a nice run from Funny Guy on the outside with that long stride, getting up in a hard-fought battle until the last 16th of a mile.
Yeah, we've been seeing chalk all day at Aqueduct, and boom, we finally got something in Funny Guy. The son of Big Brown was second to Hushin last time, but he was grinding out a good win, and now 2 for 2 over the muddy surfaces, and maybe that's why he got the job done, but a $28 winner to close out the card.
G. Mirage had a nice day yesterday with 2 big long shot winners early in the car. He's been riding very well. I think a lot of horses didn't handle this track, and it happens a lot on wet tracks where you see big sprout fields. I mean, obviously Bankit didn't run it all in here. It's a nice performance by Blind Willie McTell, but Funny Guy is a nice horse improving. He does like a wet track, and he got a superior trip. Excellent battle between a couple of these horses. And I think it's worth pointing out, these are Stallion Stakes series. We've dramatically improved the purses for these Stallion Stakes races this year. And all of these horses are bred by sires that stand in New York. They're not just New York breds. Their sires stand in New York. And they have a real advantage, and they can run in these races and will run in these races throughout the year. And I think we have some pretty big purses coming up. Now, obviously, this will serve as a prep for our Mike Lee, which is being run Memorial Day weekend when we have the New York bred day. I think, in fact, Memorial Day races. So we'll see these horses come back in battle, and they're very talented horses. We've got some excellent New York breds around, but these horses that ran the 8th and 9th races can take advantage of an extremely lucrative Stallion Stakes series.
Rajiv Mirage, Funny Guy, John Terranova, Gotsis Stables, your winning connections of this Times Square division of the New York Stallion Stakes series, and turns the tables on 3 runners who finished behind him today who'd beat him the last couple of starts.
Yeah, and I think Paulie hit it nail on the head with the muddy racetrack. Don't want to put it all on the mud, but this horse is 2 for 2 in the mud. Raced against Stakes Company 2 back and was nowhere to be seen, but he is 2 to 2 on a sloppy racetrack.
I love Rajiv Mirage. He just gets excited over everything. Gave a little fist pump there to the crowd as he won in a muddy day there at Aqueduct. But yeah, $200,000. Andy's right. This New York Stallion series is just great, and the money on the line. The Linda Rice's filly, even the filly knows that she's licking her chops on the way back to the barn, or all the money that she's going to be winning over the summer.
And with this added prize money, it builds the breed of the New York breds. People want to get involved in that. They're just seeing better sires, better horses, and both of them put on big shows today, the fillies and the colts.
Meanwhile, what a great story back at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown. The local hope running to love you, going against the big boys and proving he can be best on the big stage. $21 return for the win. We've seen prices all day long, and now this horse has reeled off 9 consecutive wins.
Gary, I'll read the connections. The Fiber Sound out of the Not For Love mare, love him and run, and that's exactly what she does do. But you mentioned Oscar Flores. This is probably his first $1 million. What does this feel like for a kid like this to beat Castellano and basically outduel him there in deep in stretch?
Hey, this is what you grow up as a kid dreaming of getting to compete on the highest level with the best jockeys in the country. Believe me, I lived it when I was young. And First time I went up against the Lafitte Pincayes and Chris McCarron's Bill Shoemakers, it was huge. So he won't sleep good tonight. He might not sleep good tomorrow night. Those are what dreams are made of right there.
Cool stuff.
Let's go back to New York. Funny Guy closes things out. It's got to be tremendous for your confidence, too. And did that help propel you to a next level?
Yeah, most definitely. So when I was riding at Long Acres back in the day in Seattle, Washington, a lot of good jocks, top jocks would come in for the Long Acres Derby. I remember the first time I rode against Bill Shoemaker and Sandy Hawley Lafitte when they came up there. And you always wanted to put on a good show on those days and prove to them you could handle it.
Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
Thank you, Greg. And Funny Guy has brought his connections, lots of smiles here today. And now, John, he is a horse who's 2 for 2 over a muddy track. Were you doing your rain dance last night?
Well, you know, he handled it when he broke his maiden, so, you know, we knew it wouldn't be a problem if it came up. But, you know, we weren't quite sure. I mean, the class going up, there's a couple of nice New York breds in here. But he's been improving. He's shown us good stuff from the start. We've always liked him, and he's just gotten better. Done a few changes equipment-wise and stuff like that with him. And, yeah, he's a heavy horse, so the more we've raced him and more we've trained him, he's just gotten better.
That's what I was going to say. Did you see a big improvement with that last start back? Kind of, this is now second off, that little bit of a layoff. Did he take that much of a step forward from his last race where he was second?
Yeah, he did. We changed some things. We took the blinkers off of him. He got in a little bit tight, and he really, you know, just wasn't comfortable in that third start. Rajiv had ridden him back, and then last out we changed a few things, and he really improved. And since then, he's just done nothing but gone forward.
Now, a lot of these Stallion Series stakes are on the turf as we move into summer. He's by Big Brown. He's handled a wet, sealed surface. Do you move him to the turf at all during the year?
You know, we may try it. Obviously, we'll probably breeze him over it, see how he handles it. I think the mare that he's out of was a grass filly, so, you know, it certainly could be in his future.
All right, well, congratulations. Enjoy this win here.
Thanks, Maggie.
All right, guys, a Funny Guy. He was pretty good here today.
A lot of options down the line and into the summer for Funny Guy. Nice to have a good New York bred. We take a look. One price, and it always helps. $796 payout in the Naira Bets late pick 5 with just one number.
That's crazy. We talked about it. One number. And the pick 4 paid like $200 and some odd, and I got to give kudos. I mean, that's got to be one of the greatest hockey beards for John Terranova. Well done.
Take a look at the Saturday Showdown. Again, you can play each and every show without risking any of your own money. You're competing for real prizes, and that's our top 10 list from this week. Treat 86 getting top money today. Well done.
I'm waiting for it to say Wolf 86 up there. I know you play in these contests.
I do. I get down. I've yet to play on the Fox Sports Saturday shows, but I'm going to start playing our next show. Of course, we're back on Friday, April 26th. I'm going to start getting down. We asked with just 2 weeks to go until the Derby. Who do you think has the best shot at winning the whole thing? Omaha Beach, big 48%.
And you think Mike Smith's decision didn't make a big difference
Right?
there in
Do you think
that
he voted?
percentage? No, I don't think he voted. I don't think that's his opinion. And
Before we got on the show, too, Gary and I both said, everybody's starting to forget about Game Winner, and that just showed you on that poll.
2-year-old champ, Breeders' Cup juvenile winner, and he's kind of become the forgotten horse.
Yeah,
It's
a little
amazing.
bit. It's unreal.
It's going to be fun. We're just 2 weeks away from the Kentucky Derby. We cannot wait. We are back with our next show Friday, April 26th. The three of us going to be out in New York, and that happens 4 p.m. Eastern, Friday, April 26th. We'll be there all weekend long. We can't wait for it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into these shows for Fox Sports Saturday at the races. We hope you've enjoyed it. We're going to see you all summer long, though, on Fox Sports 2. It was Clint Maroon in the Woodhaven. Irad Ortiz Jr., huge afternoon with a 4-win day. Clint Maroon, a 3rd straight victory. And Running to Love Ya. Horse tends to be a handful at race time. He was a handful for the competition. The local horse getting it done in the Charlestown Classic. We'll see you next Friday.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. Sign up now for a $200 new member bonus with promo code LIVE at NairaBets.com.
Eclipse champion Blame was considered by many as the breakout stallion of 2018. His top runners included Grade 1 winner and Eclipse Award finalist Marley's Freedom, plus Grade 1 winner Fault and graded stakes winners Maraud, Beyond Blame, Miss Kentucky, and Blamed. His yearling sold up to $500,000, and his sensational daughter Fault brought $1.2 million at the November sale. Outstanding results, outstanding value. Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
So my name is Robbie Hertzel. I'm the yearling manager here at Claiborne Farm, and we've got the first crop of Run Happies this year. Overall, I'm very, very pleased with them. So first we have a colt out of Rapid Repair. He's a really nice colt. Very happy with how he's come along as a yearling. So there was a lot of demand for the weanlings last year. They sold for over 6 times their stud fee, and we're really excited for the yearlings to come through the sales, and we're expecting big things from them.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.